everybody, I'm Beebs Kelley. Welcome back to another video. Thank you so much for joining me. Today, I wanted to do another comments response video because you guys unanimously asked for more, which I was so pleased to hear because I do read every single comment, and so it's really nice to be able to respond to them and to feature them and to showcase them, show my appreciation for your comments. So that's what we're doing today, but please excuse casual Beebs. So let's get started. P. Finney Yan Allen. I'm not sure how to say the username. As Catherine has had 10 years to prepare for her public dressing. Meghan had, 2 weeks? The palace refused to help Meghan when she asked for mental health issues. Why would they help her dressing? Well, this is false. I hate to say it to you. I'm not trying to be that lady, but this is not accurate information. So, first off, yes, Meghan had less time, obviously. But the Meg was offered a great deal of help. See videos like A, B, C, D. So many videos that I myself have done referenced the exact proof and evidence and sources that Meghan was offered help time and time again, including Catherine offering all of her local fashion contacts to Meghan, the staff at the palace, Sophie, Duchess of Edinburgh. So many people were offered to her to help coach her and help get her ready. She was offered a dresser, so many things. She turned them all down. So she rejected the help and said that she had her own fashion contacts to use. So Meghan made the poor choice to use her own people, whomever they were, instead of those who were experienced dressing the royal family. She was an adult. She made her own choices. She can admit it was a mistake, or she can blame other people, which is not good character. Furthermore, the Meg was offered to keep acting. The staff offered for her to take it slow and ease into the job. She and Harry were offered a number of choices of things to do after they married, besides just jump straight into being working royals. Meghan wanted to be a working royal. She herself said that she wrote a letter to the Queen and to other people explaining how much she wanted to hit the ground running and how she really wanted to just sink her teeth into projects and really get going and do all kinds of stuff immediately. She made the choice to go at it a little too quickly. She also made the choice to not read the briefs and the stuff she was given, the dossiers she was given, to help teach her what to do and what was expected. So Meghan's lack of preparation for dressing for events and occasions was her own fault because she rejected the help and thought she knew better or thought she could do it on her own or whatever. She also rejected taking more time before taking on those duties. So all her choice, it's fine. We all make mistakes. But then this last element to this person's comment says the palace refused to help Meghan when she asked for mental health issues. So that is also false and inaccurate. If Meghan Markle was having mental health issues, my question to you is, why did she not tell her mother, Prince Harry, her therapist, her yoga instructor, her doctors? She had prenatal care. Everybody is supposed to be getting prenatal care. So why didn't she ask her medical doctors? You get screened for depression when you're pregnant. She was pregnant at the time, allegedly, that this all happened. So why didn't she ask her doctors? It makes zero sense to go to the HR department for mental health help when you have a support network of at least 5 other resources or people who are closer to you to ask. Also, had she gone to the palace, I do not believe that she was refused help. Never in a million years. No. They learned things from their past. They would not have just been like, no, you can't have help. And also, I would say the person who lived with her, Prince Harry, why was he just completely oblivious to anything that was going on with the Meg? It makes no sense. Okay? No sense. Let's just put it this way. If William and Catherine were truly estranged from each other, then that proves that Catherine is a way better actress than Meghan, seeing how Catherine was able to sell the world the fantasy of a happy married life. Whatever Meghan throws at Kate, Kate still wins in the end. This is from It's Brittany Bish. Love the username. Yes, that's fabulous. And yes, good point. If that's the case, then I guess Catherine is a darn good actress. Adele says, I totally agree about the children and their titles. Many people forget that titles come with a degree of responsibility, that as a duke, you are essentially a governor, arbitrator, philanthropist, representative for the region and people you serve. Granted, less so in modern times, but taking the titles for the sake of the titles alone shows just how shallow Harry and Meghan are. It's true. Having the titles is not just having titles. They do have meaning. And by not participating in the actual meaning behind them makes them meaningless. So it's really unfortunate. Lydia says, I'm new to your channel and don't think you are intentionally mean, but comparing Meghan to Catherine in such a negative and judgy way is ugly and unkind. Comment away on their fashion do's and don'ts, but please don't tear Meghan down by assuming to know her intentions in wearing what she wore. Clearly, she was ill-advised on a number of levels or not advised at all. We know she didn't receive any of the support she needed while there. Again, false. Meghan was offered support time and time again. You cannot force an adult to take the help that they're offered. Have you not ever experienced that? That somebody, you're trying to tell them that maybe they're making a bad choice about something, or maybe they should try this or that, or maybe they should, whatever it is, stop smoking. You can't force an adult to take the advice that you give them or the help that you give them. Meghan was offered help time and time again and rejected it. Why are people trying to blame other people for that? That's weird. Just because Meghan blames other people doesn't mean we should blame other people. The person who says no, they don't want help, is the person at fault. Also, I don't think I'm comparing Meghan. This was on the undergarments video where I talked about how Meghan made a lot of mistakes with her undergarments. I don't think I'm comparing Meghan and Catherine in a negative and judgy way in that video, though I appreciate your perspective. I think that I am using the example that Catherine, in similar situations to Meghan and of similar age to Meghan, thereby you would assume similar maturity levels, right? Similar life experience levels here, similar age and similar situation, attending the same engagements in similar positions. Yes, Catherine had seniority, but they were both, pretty similar in position at the time of the royal family engagements that they were both on. Things like Royal Ascot, Trooping the Colour, these sorts of occasions, Commonwealth Day. Catherine and Meghan both attended. One of them had fashion faux pas, undergarments showing through their clothes. The other one didn't. So I'm using Catherine as the example of somebody who did not have those same mistakes and somebody who did have those mistakes at the same event in similar age range and similar outfits. The Pun Police, I'm obsessed with the name, I love a good pun, that's a great username, asked me, what do you think Catherine wore under this green earthshot dress? Good question. Well, first off, she did an amazing job. Let's start there. She did exactly what she needed to do. The dress looks to be just a tad stretchy, and it's obviously very snug. So literally anything and everything would have shown up on this dress. Everything she wore underneath would have been showing up. So forgive me, but we're going to start from the back. You see no panty line and no bra band across her back. From the side, you see no indication of thigh length shapewear like the shorts kind, or a slip that's stopping somewhere along the upper thigh area. You do not see any sign of that. From the front, we can see some indication of the strapless bra just across the top, but there is no line under the boob. So I think that she wore a one-piece situation, some sort of a onesie type situation. It's likely something that was a thong with built-in strapless bra, like this one here. It creates a really, really smooth finish. It's your bra, your panties, and center shapewear all in one, smoothing everything out for you. I think she likely wore nylons as well, which would help perfect the finish for that transition from, if it were like a high cut style thong like that one there, it would perfect that transition for her. So that's probably what she wore. Oftentimes, the thinner the material of the shapewear item itself, that gives a more seamless finish. If you really want to be sure you avoid harsh lines from where the shapewear is, then be sure to buy a size up. Essentially buy the largest size that you can that will still work and stay in place. And again, opt for the thinner fabrics that will do more smoothing rather than compression. So that's definitely what I think she had on. Something with real thin fabric, real seamless. Jay said, I can remember when she first came on the scene with Harry, she offered Catherine offers of fashion and makeup help. Seriously, Catherine needs no help from Meghan. And so, okay, this is weird. I just spoke about this on a recent video that's coming out in a few days. It'll be out before this video comes up. It'll be old. This isn't making any sense. It'll be old by the time you guys see this, but this comment was from before that video came out. So it's interesting because actually when Meghan came and moved in with Harry and they were engaged, Catherine gave Meghan a list of her fashion contacts so that Meghan could go to these people for tailoring, for clothing, for things like that. And Meghan rejected it. Like, who would do that? Meg was not from the UK. She didn't know anybody. So what valuable intel was she receiving from Catherine? How kind of Catherine. Then in the press came this leak that Jay is referencing that basically it was the other way around, that Meghan offered Catherine a contact list. And I remember reading that at the time and thinking that made no sense at all. No sense at all. So the Meg evidently took such deep offense to Catherine's offer of fashion contacts that she had to put out this fake story that it was the other way around. And that explains, once again, why it wasn't picked up and run with all the major publications that we're used to seeing. So it's just kind of hilariously petty and textbook narcissistic behavior right there. Flip it and reverse it. It's sanity. Maketh no sense. Poor Catherine. Be a Catherine. She's come out of this with obvious good character and evidence to back that up, and the Meg gets the exact opposite. So it's clear what really went on in this occasion. That's embarrassing for Meghan. Judy wants to know what bra should she have worn with this tragic Roland Mouret dress, the gray dress, the tragic cookie cutter bra dress. Okay, so if she had worn this sort of shapewear item right here that has a built-in bra and is a one-piece bra and panty situation with nylons, or like a one-piece bra and slip situation, it would have offered more support to the strapless bra. And that is the secret. If you have to do a strapless bra, buy a long line if you can. It just gives you more inches across here for it to not slide down. More points of grip, so to speak. But if you do a one piece that's also panty involved, then it's the same thing. It will help the strapless bra to not slip down, and it does help to minimize the lines because they're not digging in on you the same. Or she could have worn a slip with built-in bra and nylons, or even a strapless romper shapewear like this one here. In that scenario, she should have had a seamstress add an extra layer, like a built-in slip, to the inside of the dress. It could have even been one that's removable. They use little basting stitches, or they can put a little hook and eye situation, or even tiny little buttons to hold basically like a slip layer that you can then take out of the inside of your dress and wash and then put back in. That way you don't have an extra layer of something strapless that could slide down and come off. You don't want that for this sort of a situation. So she would have needed to work with somebody really experienced who knew what they were doing to make that happen, but that would have been the best option because she wouldn't have been able to just wear a normal slip. And a strapless bra built into a slip still might have fallen down too much. So that's why I say it probably would have been better to do a onesie with a built-in slip layer, like just an extra layer of lining to the dress. But no matter if she had the right undergarments on and the right base layer, it was still a size too small across her torso and waist. So it still would have shown a lot more than it needed to because it's too small. It's just exacerbating the terrible bra situation in this case. So it just would have made it very difficult to create a completely smooth finish no matter what. But a one piece would have minimized the underbust definition at least. Songbirdstress and one other wrote similar comments that her posture lets her down, she thrusts her neck forward and hunches her shoulders. Is it because her footwear is unsuitable, this posture problem? Yes. 100% yes. I mean, it's like a huge part of it at least. Her posture really does truly let her down, 100% agree. It always looks either hunched or like she's arching her back out to create a bigger rear end. The way we see like sometimes immature younger ladies sometimes do to make it look like they have a big rear end. It's really, really bad for your physical health and for your back. And it's just also, it looks awkward. It looks bad. It looks obvious. Everybody knows what you're trying to do. When you arch your back out like that, it creates a really awkward look, and it also looks like you're leaning back with your upper body, and it's just impractical and, as I said, bad for you. It makes the whole rest of your figure look weird. I feel like that's when she's trying to pose in a certain manner. But when she's not thinking, I think her natural state is really kind of like hunched forward. And she does this all the time. She does it when she's meeting people, when she's talking to people. And I think a lot of that does have to do with her heels. Another thing, when you do the arching, makes your belly poke out. And we see a lot of pictures of her doing that where it looks like she's sticking her midsection out because the pictures are from the front. But if you were to look from a different angle, she's arching her back like this. And there's a technical term for it. I can't remember what it's called, of that position that sometimes people take in that posture position. And it's very, very bad for your back and your knees and everything. And it looks bad. So when she's not doing that, like I said, the hunch, the lean forward, I think it looks kind of like a lurch. But especially with how she holds her hands and arms up in front of her so much, it just looks so much worse. That's why it's so important to stand upright and have good posture. You have to learn good posture. It helps so much. Patty says, one of the last photos I saw of the Meg's was with the Kardashians, and they were all dressed in the same blah color she was wearing, or very close. She's unable to carry off their vibe. So it's true. I mean, I'm not sure what picture she's referencing. I haven't seen it. But one of the reasons why the Kardashians don't look quite so bland in boring colors is because of their figures. Part of their brand and their image is the exaggerated silhouette. They've invested a lot of time and money into their figures, and that's kind of part of their brand, to curate and create that hourglass shape that is enhanced. Just how natural it may or may not be doesn't matter. That's not the point. The point is that they do have a defined and dramatic hourglass figure that gives a lot of drama to their shape and silhouette, no matter what color they're wearing or no matter what outfit they're wearing. And that's why they often opt for more fitted outfits, because when you are hourglass, if you don't have something that nips in at the waist, then you just look frumpy and big like me today. So that's why they always wear stuff that's tight around the stomach to define the waist and lean into that accentuated curved shape, which is fine. And it achieves a certain sort of balance with their proportions by letting their figure be the interest of the outfits. So that's why the bland colors and the sort of simple beige looks better on the Kardashians than it does on the Meg. The Meg has a straight, boxy, even lanky figure, and I'm not saying that in a bad way. We all have our unique proportions and our problem areas or whatever. Everybody is different and unique, and you just have to address where you're at. So I'm not saying that in a bad way. She just does have a more angular, more straight figure. Nobody can argue that she's got Kardashian curves. So therefore, the bland color ends up just looking plain because she doesn't have those curves. So it ends up almost accentuating the straight waistline, whereas with the Kardashians, it just kind of allows their silhouette to be the drama of the outfit, and you just focus more in on their curves and their overall shape. But with the Meg, something bland and beige, there's not that curve and shape to her body to give it interest. So it ends up just being kind of blah. Virginia Viola says, for someone whose sole claim to fame is a letter she wrote, apparently at 11, objecting to women being depicted as being unjustly assumed to be stuck in the kitchen, I'm loving the irony of her being in a kitchen selling cookingware and kitchen produce primarily marketed to women is just too funny. Yeah, it is funny. And it highlights the problem with repeating the story over and over and over and not having any other stories to tell. Because it becomes this big feature of the Meg's image, and it's really boxed her in at this point. It's kind of like actors who can't really do anything else. They're like George from Seinfeld. He's George. You can't see him in a different movie and think he's not George. He is George. It happened to Newman too. Every movie I've ever seen him in, I'm like, oh, that's Newman. I have no idea his name in the actual movie. I just know it's Newman from Seinfeld. So it's the same sort of thing. By Meg repeating that story so frequently and it being like literally the only thing she has to say at so many different big venues, then she has boxed herself into a corner that is like her identity now. that when she was 11, she too wrote a letter. I want to emphasize that this was a literal school assignment in classes all over America, so I am told. So this was not just the Meg. Dozens, if not hundreds or thousands of students wrote to Hillary Clinton and the dishwashing people to explain why it was not a good ad. And this was an practice or an assignment in argumentative or persuasive writing, which is standard language arts assignment here. So anyway, because that has become synonymous with her, that she too wrote this letter, then it's created this vibe that that's all she's done, and also seems to be the biggest, most important thing that she has done, since it's the thing she speaks about most frequently. For any person, whatever is most important to them or their most important achievement, that's what they're going to talk about the most, or it's going to be the most noteworthy. If somebody's writing an article about them, that's what's going to be in their name. Like, for example, an actor, whichever movie won them an Oscar, will be what's mentioned, even if it was 30 years ago, with their name. They'll be like, so-and-so who won an Oscar for this, or best actor for this movie in, whatever year, because that's their biggest achievement. So the Meg has made it seem like this dishwashing letter is her biggest achievement because that's all she ever talks about. So it was a big mistake. It also points out the key factor of business to know your audience. She doesn't appeal to women because she has communicated a mean girl image and vibe with her exaggerations, her lies, her complaints, her petty attacks on Catherine, who is very, very likable. And women do relate to Catherine a lot because Catherine is much more genuine and lives in a way that people recognize to be familiar to the way they live. So, like as a mom, doing normal mom stuff, things like that. I don't know. She just, something about her people do connect with, and the Meg, they don't. And so the Meg picking on Catherine was massive mistake. If the Meg had made her brand gender neutral, though, I wonder if it would have been more strategic, to like appeal to men just as much as women, as like a modern take on these sorts of brands. Because, for example, Martha Stewart and things like that we've had in the past are very much geared towards women, which I have no problem with. I love domestic stuff like cooking and cleaning and being a mom and those sorts of things. That was like number one goal for me in life, to bake, do crafts, make a happy home, happy kids, happy life. Like, that's the dream. So for me, I do not mind people like Martha Stewart and lifestyle brands marketing towards women, because I connect with that. But for the Meg, it would have made more sense for her to push it into a new territory and make it gender neutral. That would have modernized it, been innovative, been different, been new, to try to create a lifestyle brand that's very gender neutral. But I feel like that would be hugely challenging because men and women just respond to completely different things. So the men that are, stay-at-home dads or work from home or do more of the domestic load, I'm not sure that they would have the same selling points or have the same connection as women would be. So it would be a huge challenge for whatever brand decides to do that. But it would have totally freshened up Meghan's brand if she made it seem like she was marketing towards men and women in the home. But her advert, her teaser, is very much marketing towards women, and she is off base wildly. But to the point, a gender neutral approach would have been more aligned with the image that she's curated thus far, which is that the most important thing that Meg has done is protest a dishwashing commercial that was marketed towards women. Lenka says, I get there are famous people who don't have fashion or style sense or simply don't care. Yes, lots. But they can afford a stylist and they use them. Yes. This is why the Meg is often an example of what not to do. Because celebrities, while they may not have a great sense of style or like literally not care at all, they do hire a stylist. They do have a publicist. So when they have red carpet appearances or interviews or things like that, going on talk shows, they use a stylist. They're like, dress me for this, make it look nice. So we don't catch them in the same sorts of tragic mistakes the way we do the Meg. And I think a big part of that is because big actors who are on red carpets all the time and asked to do appearances and shows and stuff, They're used to being dressed. They're in the costume department all the time. They're working with costume designers, being dressed for the films that they're in or the shows that they're doing. So they're used to that. And they don't feel threatened by taking advice from a stylist or having a stylist just make it smooth, tell me what to do, what to wear, make it look nice. They don't find that to be threatening in any way. They are happy to do that. And the Meg really needs to get on board with that. I mean, because it's just good PR. Getting a good appearance and a good finish and looking nice is only going to help your professional image. Tizok, I think that's how you might pronounce it, I'm not sure, asked, could she be wearing a strapless bodysuit to try to make a waist? Okay, so you mean like some sort of like corseted type situation, similar to like a waist trainer or something? I mean, maybe. But honestly, she's quite lean. I mean, most of the time, I mean, postpartum is one thing, but in general, the Meg is really lean. So they wouldn't really be able to create a waist for her, like a corseted type situation, or, you know, a bustier that's like got a corseted center, because it's not like she has chub there to squeeze around and squash and make tighter. So I feel like that wouldn't do too awful much for her. And they're also pretty obvious. It's pretty difficult to camouflage them under the tight clothes that Meg usually wore. They're really stiff. They tend to give a more unnatural look. I don't recommend them. But even if she tried, her torso is short and her hips are high set. So probably wouldn't work that well at all. She may have tried, and in some cases it might explain the weird tightness or bunching around the waist that was sometimes present, or the look of some extra sorts of lines and whatnot throughout those areas. But it definitely didn't help anything, that's for sure. The Pun Police, hello again, also said that they need fully lined bras due to nipple show, which I totally respect. This was on the bra tutorial video. If you guys missed it, go check it out. It could be a little bit boring. I'm still not fully happy with it. I'm never happy with tutorials. I feel like they could always be better. But Pun Police is saying that they don't want to try unlined bras because of nipple show. If you did want to try the freedom and comfortability of an unlined bra, though, you could always wear pasties with it to prevent the nipple show. Just an idea. Great Lady asked, what fit is suitable to minimize back fat? Great question. Posture bras and smoothing bras don't sound like they'll solve the problem, but they do. They have a lot more fabric across the sides and the back, like all across the back area, similar to like a sports bra in the back, if you could think about it that way. They just have a lot more fabric, but they still have normal bra cups in the front. So they're very smoothing across the back area and, you know, along the sides and stuff like that. Some long line bras work okay, but they will typically only smooth from where the bra cups start downwards. So if you have more of a problem like across the base of your band, across below where your bust line is, a long line bra will solve it. But if you have more of a problem along the top of your band in the back and across the upper back area, a posture or smoothing bra that just generally speaking has a lot more fabric back there helps. Now, sometimes those are super high coverage. So, you know, you can't wear them with all the tops, but it helps the back area. So sometimes we got to pick and choose. Michelle's comment reads, how do you wear a thong to avoid panty lines if you have a larger rear and some cellulite? So again, this is from the undergarments tutorial and I'll link it for you guys. So if you are concerned with cellulite being visible through your clothes and it's impacting your confidence, you have a few options. You do not necessarily have to resort to finding thicker panties to sort of camouflage or something like that, as that might result in VPL, visible panty line. So you might feel like it's either visible cellulite or visible panty lines. It doesn't have to be that way. The easiest fix, you might not like it, but I swear it's not as bad as it sounds. I used to do it all the time for pageants. Not that I didn't need to, but I did because it's the best practice for pageantry. It's to wear nylons under any pant or trouser or skirt or dress. Nylons smooth all that out, especially if you purchase control top nylons. If they're very bothersome for like your feet, for example, you can buy the kind that just have a strap that goes under your foot. So you can still wear a normal sock. You don't have to feel bothered around your toes having an extra layer there. They make nylons that are literally a strap at the bottom, the way ballet tights are. so you don't have the full foot at the bottom of the nylon, or you can even cut them if you really want to. The control top styles have a little bit of a thicker nylon across the bum area and then are thinner down the legs, so you won't feel as hot. Like, it doesn't feel as hot as you might think. It really, really doesn't. They definitely smooth out the look over the bum, and you can still wear a thong to avoid a panty line or other like no-show panties of some kind. And it will minimize the cellulite appearance. Alternatives to that, though, if you're really against it, is to wear shapewear shorts or slips, but in some instances that ends up being more fabric and feeling more hot. So I would really encourage you to try the nylon thing. Lace trimmed and panties that are full lace over the butt cheeks, like I recommended in that video, are also great alternatives to thongs, and you won't be adding any layers, and they'll add a little bit of camouflaging to the cellulite, but nothing as good as nylons. Anne says she needs to wear a front clasp bra due to back surgery, and she needs a full cup. She's pear-shaped and plus size. What bra should I get? Glamorize is what popped in my head first because they're size inclusive and they have great smoothing options. They also have a lot of front close options that are really nice and supportive, and a big variety of them too. But honestly, you guys, I will only ever actually recommend a brand if I have personally tried it and it was a successful attempt. I'm not going to recommend a brand that I've never personally tried. So I would personally recommend, if you don't want to go for Glamorize or you want something different, I would just search for a front close posture bra or a front close smoothing bra. Those might be good matches for you. I find some bras with front close to be a little tricky to get a good fit, but I like front closure. They're so much easier to put on. They're very, very comfortable if you can find a good one, but I find the cups are just sometimes a little bit off. They just don't quite fit as nicely as other styles of bra. Jen asked if I would ever consider individual assessments or online consultations. I have considered it, and I was starting to draw up plans for that, but I've put it on hold for now. I would enjoy it. I really would. I would really love to do that. But I also have like perfectionist tendencies, so I won't initiate the service until I feel like it's very, very well thought out and planned carefully. So stay tuned. Maybe. Okay, you guys, I feel like this video has gone on long enough at this point, but please leave more questions or comments below. I will make another one sometime in the future. Thank you so much for joining me for today's video, and thank you so much for all of your comments. I appreciate each and every one of you. I hope you have a very happy day ahead, and I will see you next time. Bye!